Yeah, Elliott Wilson for Rap Radar. This is the Truth Live, man. We ain't did this in a long time. I think since like late last year. The Truth Live is when I get out the field, I go back to the headquarters, we charge up the computers, we get a Google Hangout going, we get some hot topics to discuss, and then more importantly, the most important thing is we put together an esteemed panel of colleagues and people I could talk to and chop it up with. And you know, usually those panels are cool, but you have a couple of people are cool, and then got some lightweights and stuff. But this panel right here, though, it's kind of special, man. This guy Taylor behind the scenes is on his job, man. He got some heavyweights, man. There's no weak link in this panel and this group of people. I want to discuss the state of hip-hop in 2014. We're at that midway point, June. Summertime about to kick in. Want to kind of get everybody's take on where hip-hop's at right now, the good and the negative, the positive and the bad, the albums, the singles that are really impacting, the things we're anticipating, who's going to run the summer. You know, all those good things we talk about as hip-hop heads for years and years and years and have those debates, and a lot of times it plays out on social media. So I want to play it out here today. So let me introduce everybody. Let's start down the line. I think I got my man Hovain from BSB Records. Hovain, what up, baby?
What up, BSBE?
Tell the people out there who don't know who Hovain is, who he is. Introduce yourself, my brother.
Manager of Troy Ave, co-president of BSB Records. It's all-around good guy.
Okay, that's good. Hovain, besides the movement that you got going on in 2014, I mean, you're having a nice little year so far, making moves and making impact. What are your initial thoughts when people say to you, Hovain, what's going on in hip-hop in 2014? Like, what's the things that really stick out to you?
I think it was a strong reemergence of the West Coast sound. And now, as of late, like within the last month or two, it's been a reemergence from the East Coast sound. Like, you know, artists like Troy, 50, and Dipset coming about. I think, you know, there's a lot of hometown pride in hip-hop right now.
Okay, you feel like you're at the forefront of that, right?
I mean, you know, I'm trying to be humble.
Why do you think the West has been able to have such a good strong run?
Good music.
Get back on the feet in terms of the national landscape.
Good music, good feel-good vibe, and it's some type of synergy. Like, you know, everybody's out there is not best friends, but, you know, they do songs together, they come to each other's shows, they support, you know. And also, a lot of them are winning because they're affiliated with Karen Civil.
Oh, plug.
Karen here, but first I want to introduce Jas Fly. Jas, tell the people who you are if they don't know.
I am a writer and a multimedia personality.
Cool, and you're also heavy in that social media, you know, social media tweets, impacting the conversation.
Yep. Yes.
What are your initial thoughts when people say to you, Jas, what's going on in hip hop in 2014?
To me, the most interesting part is that artists are actually taking back their business. And I think that's something that was missing. You saw in the 90s, everybody was really heavy into our crew and our label and our thing, and then it switched over and the labels were running everything. And I think we're seeing this trend where they're really taking back ownership in their business. I think that's huge.
In terms of just the artists going toward like 50 going to be an independent, or just even people on majors, the way they do their business?
Well, I mean, when you think about it, 50's an independent artist, Jay's an independent artist, Ray's an independent artist, Beyonce's about to be independent. So there's a huge push where huge artists are now going back to indie, and they're going to change the game. And I think that's a huge thing that we need to talk about.
Okay. Speaking of independent forces, they already mentioned her, Karen Civil. Thank you for joining us, KC. Tell the people that don't know about your 27 jobs, what you do for a living.
Oh man, I call myself the entertainment blossom because I wear so many different hats. I actually found the title for it. I call it, cultural artisan. Part of the management team for Nipsey Hussle. Doing the entertainment marketing over at Beats by Dre. For my website, just the different things. I'm just out here. Just out here in a very humble way.
You're out here and you're always on the scene. So what are your thoughts besides the things, I guess the things that you're involved in that are impacting culture? Like what is your take on those things and how they're moving, and also the things that aren't in your control that you're just seeing and observing?
Honestly, to touch on what Jas said, it's just, artists and bigger business. It's just something that's remarkable now, seeing how artists are taking back the control of their marketing, just how things are handled for them, especially with the rollout of their projects in their career. that's something that I just find so interesting. You know, someone like, you know, she did mention Beyonce. Someone like a Beyonce, she has a million people who could handle things for her. But she took back the control. She did the rollout of the video. She let you know when the album was coming. So just that and
She's on Instagram now.
yeah, yeah,
She got that Tumblr moving. The Tumblr's moving out here.
She's dictating. As soon as she gets off, she's meticulously putting everything together. As soon as she get off stage, the images go to Tumblr. If you want to comment from her, you no longer have to go to a PR person. You go to her Tumblr. She give you an answer through a photo. So I just like the way artists are now handling their business more than anything. And then to touch on what Hov said, that West Side connection is mean because of Mustard. It's mean.
Is that because you moved out there, Karen? That's because you lived out west?
Hey, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I mean, like that Mustard situation, closing out Summer Jam, West Coast closed out Summer Jam. That, to me, that in itself was big. That in itself was big, and that spoke a lot to where the culture is going and just what's happening right now.
Okay, it might be getting a little too positive, so I gotta bring my man Nigel D here, baby. Nigel D for real talk. Nigel, talk. You don't show your face off, man. Talk to the people, man. Tell them who you are and everything you got going on.
The fly out.
What?
So the flyer
Don't
chick
pay no
out.
attention to him.
Nigel, international
He
D.
threw out two girls in the middle of everybody's speech.
Hates women.
Listen,
Hates women.
I'm in Miami right now. Took some time out.
Talking to Instagram honeys. Talk to everybody about your skills and what you got going on, Nigel.
I mean, I'm a photographer. I mean, video producer, blogger, world traveler. I'm just a Renaissance man, you know? I'm just out here being humble, all right? Like Karen. I want to be like Karen when I grow up.
So, Nigel, what do you think of the game right now? I know sometimes you're not as positive as everybody out here. How do you feel about that?
I just keep it real. Like, some people want to BS because they got relationships and all that. I just keep it real. I think there's a lot of excitement in New York right now. You know, they got Troy, we got G when they come back together. We got Fab with the Cup of Season remix. There's a lot going on. So I think New York is really excited, and we just waiting for some solid albums to come out.
So the New York thing is the one that's the New York kind of resurgence going on right now is the thing that kind of most.
We got New York. We got Young Money. You know, Nicki dropping an album, Lil Wayne dropping an album, and Drake dropping an album probably soon. And then we got Meek Mill coming back, and we got Diddy coming back too. So there's a lot going on.
The big homie.
I might even drop a mixtape. I don't know. I might drop a mixtape. Hovain, give me a verse.
The Fly Out Volume 1.
The Fly Out. That's the name of it. Karen still with my A&R. What's up?
Nigel, what do you most, you personally yourself, Nigel, what is the thing that you most connect to? Like, what is Nigel listening to? The people want to know.
I'm listening to HS87, We The Plug. I'm listening to YG new album. Listening to Troy Ave. Listening to the G the remixes. I mean, I try to listen to everybody.
Okay, all right. So it's not just an East Coast thing.
Nah, I appreciate everybody.
So first thing I want to talk about is kind of the albums that came out this year. Obviously, like, you know, it's a lot of mixtapes come out. A lot of times there's so much free music. It's kind of rare now that you actually get an album that comes out, you know, that really impacts culture. And I think probably some of the biggest names this year so far have come out is YG, Ross, Schoolboy Q, Freddie Gibbs, Pharrell. I think Kid Cudi had an album. I want to kind of go through everybody and get to them. Who, like, which album do you think has kind of stood up and seems like, as of right now, if the year ended right now, who had the best album? And
Oh, we lost Elliott.
I got rid of Elliott. What's up? I'm taking over. What up? This is the truth.
It's just so awkward.
Nigel D, what's up? You don't need Elliott no more. I'm taking over.
What's up, Karen? How you feeling?
I'm good.
So,
do we
why
talk
don't we just jump the
Hovain,
question?
I need a verse.
Question.
Hovain, I need a verse for my mixtape. What's up?
can you guys hear me? See me?
$7,500.
Oh,
Hovain.
you back?
Yeah.
Yo, I'm here. I'm back.
Hovain got rid of you? That's messed up.
Push the button. He blackballed me. I
You know,
can't get a deal.
Karen's part of the Illuminati. She might have did it. I don't know.
Jazz. Let's start with Jazz. I was saying, like, with all these albums that came out this year, who got the best album in your mind so far? I want to go through get everybody's opinion. I'm gonna start with Jas Fly. Jas Fly. Who's running hip hop right now? Who got the best album? If we're just talking albums.
We're just talking albums. I would say YG. Yeah,
YG.
he put together a full body of work. Yeah, they really did tell a whole story.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, he definitely put together a full body of work. He told the story from beginning to end. It was authentic. I believe it. And I think also I feel like I'm going to feel as excited about it next year as I do this year. So I think it's going to stand the test of time to me. So I would say YG.
Do you think it's getting the props it deserves? Because it didn't do as well commercially as, let's say, Ross's Mastermind or some other records. Like, do you feel like, and also the kind of the shadow of Kendrick Lamar and his album, and both kind of explore Compton in different ways. Do you think any of those factors are kind of hurting people recognizing YG enough?
I think all of it is. I think he is coming really close to, because you got to keep in mind, Good Kid, Mad City has a ridiculously long range. They shut his cycle down a year ago, but he's still going. I think so. He came really close behind Kendrick. I think also the bigger thing with YG, which is very different from a Kendrick and other artists, is that the presentation of him is that you think just based off of look that you're getting another gangster rapper, when you may not necessarily be checking for another gangster rapper. But I think when you really get past that and really look at the material and see, his interviews and his personality, you realize there's so much more depth to this guy. But I think that what is making it kind of a slow build is that it's taken a bit to permeate that initial reaction.
What song on the album do you think really kind of would open people's minds to maybe characterizing him like just on the surface as gangster rapper, Pyru, Blood, that type of stuff? Was there a song on the album in particular that you connected to that you felt was kind of more in depth, that kind of shows his range?
Keeping it completely honest with you, it wasn't even necessarily the music to me, because I'm gonna be honest, like, I kind of felt the same way. And I had this conversation with Sycamore. It was just like, what about this guy is supposed to be exciting to me? And then he came and he presented his album, and it was his personality. I think more than anything, because before we get to the music nowadays, it's all about content. So I think more than anything, what I would love to see from him are just more raw material. Instead of like pushing particular songs, I would love to see more raw material, because it's his personality that actually wins people over. And that's what won me over.
Yeah. Now, Karen, you was involved. You deal with someone with YG in terms of, I guess, the marketing and stuff behind his career. Were you involved at all with the album?
No, it's more or less with YG. We built a relationship through. It's funny, through Instagram. He used to hit me on Instagram, and then eventually he used to leave random comments, and then Sycamore introduced us. So through the process of like just going to the studio, listening to the music, seeing him connect with Mustard, and I work with Jeezy. So when Jeezy would come in town, go with him there. It's just the way the album came out, and knowing the backstory of how it was taking forever to turn it in, and just the process of who was going to fit where, and just how cohesive it is, just makes me appreciate it so much more, because you can't really skip songs. It's just like it's perfectly blended together. And
Karen, you did something that I thought was amazing, by the way. I just want to tell you. You did, it was a BTS video you did of the Who Do You Love video. Mm-hmm. That I thought was, to me, one of the best materials I saw from YG. So I feel like you should do more of that. More out here for him, because
the behind the scenes video you said.
Yeah, it was good. It was from Civil TV. Yeah, it was really good.
And even
Karen, what do you think were the final missing pieces that made the album finally become a go? And from your observations, like, what was it missing, and when did you feel like, okay, I think these guys have figured it out, and like, I'm impressed?
I think once they put it in the order it was, like once it got cohesive and the way it blended, how one song stopped and then it went into the other, it just feels like you're in the club and that DJ is doing the scratch and blends into the next song. It's just like I really love that about this project. And what's cool is it's not even really just like a West Coast quote unquote gangsta album. It's more or less like you hear people in the suburbs. Like if you go to his shows, I've been to 6 or 7 different shows across the country with him, and just the people and the audience that are going, I'm bicking back being cool, like bull, like just using gang terminology. He's making it cool.
Yeah. The whole blood thing. Hovain, I think you like that YG album too. I remember talking to you about. Is that the best album so far this year?
I like YG album a lot. I like Mastermind album a lot. But to be as unbiased as possible, I think that what Troy Evans
Who didn't see this coming? Who didn't see this coming? Like really?
Troy Evans.
You shouldn't even get an answer.
I mean, what Troy Evans is doing independently is unheard of. Like, we really setting precedent. First independent artist ever on the main stage of Summer Jam. All type of endorsement ads, charting on Billboard. Like, to even be mentioned in the conversation is a win. So if people will say, yo, Troy Evans had one of the greatest albums of the year, whatever the case may be, with people who are having millions of dollars in marketing and promotion spent on them, and it's just a team of 2 to 3 people that's doing that, I think that's a win right there in itself. But besides,
behind the scenes though, like I know you have a great relationship. His name's been mentioned several times. Tell the people about who Sycamore is and what your observation, what his role was in making My Crazy Life the album that it is.
I think Sycamore is one of the genius minds of music that we have right now. I think when it's all said and done, people are gonna look back at it and be like, "Yo, he's
an A&R."
He's an A&R. He really feels the pulse of the culture. Like, he knows what direction things are going in before they're going in them. And I think YG and Jeezy sat down and they really made a great body of work. It's gonna be time stamped. Like, people are gonna forever associate Sycamore with YG, and that's dope. Him being an East Coast person to embody something a West Coast artist has done, that's amazing to me personally.
Yeah.
And Sycamore also.
Go ahead, Jas.
Sycamore is also working with a lot of Chicago artists. Like, he's just a dude that gets it across the board. Yeah. Like, he really just gets it. And he can translate what the artist is trying to say.
Yeah, he told me he got some great things coming with Lil Durk. Like, he told me that Lil Durk had like 70 songs, and he picked 12 that he liked, and they're really starting to really put that.
Lil Durk's project so far is absolutely incredible.
Jeremiah album is crazy.
Yeah, Sycamore is
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Sycamore is really, raising that flag for Def Jam as far as getting this quality street music. Nothing taken from drama, but he's really putting this music out here.
Ooh, Nigel, we didn't get to you yet, man. What's the album of 2014? You say you listen to Hit Boy now.
I think it's early, but so far I would say YG, because it's an album that you can just listen to straight, and it just puts you in that mindset of a young LA gangbanger. Like, all of a sudden you want to push your flag on and start doing crazy things, saying pick and bull and all of this craziness. I think it's like watching a movie, but it's music. Like, you just put yourself in that mind frame, and I think it was a solid debut album.
Speaking of movies,
but I won't be joining any gangs though. No gangs for me though.
Speaking of movies, the cinematic though, I think Hovain mentioned it. Rick Ross with Mastermind, like that's actually the top-selling album of the year, biggest first week. I think it's a really solid album. Like, why do you think that album? Is it a thing where YG's album is just a little bit better, or like, what did you guys think of Mastermind?
I loved it. Great album, Double MG.
Do you think, Hovain, that Rose's kind of going through that Jay-Z thing where like he makes a certain level of solid album, but it just doesn't, like when Jay-Z was making like Volume 2, Volume 3, Life and Times of Big Pimpin', like sometimes it's just the same kind of standard of the person that, YG's a new artist coming out of nowhere doing a body of work. Do you think that hurts Ross that he's been so consistent making this type of music?
No, I don't think it hurts him. I think people that really listen to music know. I think the average consumer might say that, but I think like the U's, the Karens, the Jazzes, the Kaz, the Nigels of the world, they know that you can hear the growth from Ross. You can't listen to the nobody.
I wouldn't say that.
Jump in, Jas. Go ahead. I can't see Kazeem's here too.
Sorry, I wouldn't say that. I think Ross has kind of stopped at a certain level, and he's making music at a certain level. I think that, to quote Jay, he makes he made a great statement a few years ago about how, when you're talking about your life and you're being completely 100% honest, you never run out of things to talk about. And I feel like with Ross, there's so much that happens, but I would love to see him dig deeper. And he's shown evidence of it. It just doesn't necessarily happen consistently. So I wouldn't say that I've seen growth in him. I think I've seen it to a certain level, and then it just kind of levels off. I think we know Ross and we like Ross, and he makes really great beats. But I don't think.
Hey, Kaz, don't go nowhere. I'm about to introduce you. Kaz,
right here, baby.
You're late to the party, man. Let the people know who you are.
What's good, people? It's your boy Kaz. From thestash.com. Sorry for being late, for being black and late as always, but
B. Peace. Peace.
Just
So
came
Kaz,
from Aruba.
so Kaz, we're talking about starting off with the state of 2014 hip hop. You know, give me some of your initial thoughts, and then let me know what you think was the album of the year so far.
I mean, initial thoughts on the state of hip hop in 2014 is I feel like we've kind of lowered the barrel a little bit. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are kind of trying to force the YG album to be the album of the year.
Uh-oh, that's what we've been doing before you got here, man.
What?
And I was like, not for nothing. Like it's alright. Like YG
It's
album,
alright.
but like dog, like I stopped listening to it after like 2 or 3 weeks. You know?
Nah,
Like,
I'm still listening to it.
I'm
I mean, it's
still
alright. I mean,
I'm about to
there's
play it
still-
right now.
What's up?
I'm about to play it right now.
Good for you. I appreciate
Yeah, you
that.
can do it right now. Well, then, what do you think? What do you think of this, Kaz? Is it Rose? Is it Pharrell? Is it Schoolboy Q? Freddie Gibbs? Like, what moves you this year? Whose album you think is winning?
You know what? I have to give it to Q by default, just because Q's album is you know, it's a little bit more sonically better than
Oxymoron,
YG
right?
to me. Other than
Say
that,
again?
you know,
I'm sorry, you broke up. Say it again.
I said to me, I'd have to give it to Q by default. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that it's that great of an album, but I just think like the couple of albums that have come out this year, I feel like by the end of this year, we won't even remember them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the YG album is good for right now. Q's album is good for right now. Pharrell's album is good for right now, but I don't think it's really that impressive of a year so far, being truthfully honest.
Okay. Anybody else feelings about Oxymoron? Schoolboy Q, he had a lot on the line coming after Kendrick. Like, some people may feel like, well, YG made the album that, like, was cohesive in a way that and delivered and made more impact the way we thought Schoolboy Q was going to be. And, like, even in YG had the touch of, like, Ali and TD mixing his records. So how did you think that hurt Schoolboy Q at all? Like, what are you guys' thoughts on Oxymoron?
Didn't really care for it.
Hovain says no. Nigel, Oxymoron?
I mean, me personally, I think the album was just a little. I think it's a little unfairly judged because of Good Kid, Mad City. I think, you know, the hype that surrounded Kendrick and him delivering on it and becoming this big superstar that kind of came from the underground for a little bit. I think that was a little bit of you know, a backhanded compliment. Like, his album was really good. I mean, it's not no Good Kid, Mad City, but what is?
Settle down, Nigel. Nigel's having a party, man. Settle down, Nigel.
He's flown someone out in the middle of the hangout.
Nigel, stop flying chicks out. They'll be back.
Tell her you giving them money later.
Yeah, man. No, but yeah, like I said, you know, I think Oxymoron was a little bit unfairly judged just because of the success of Kendrick's album. Like, if you take away Good Kid, Mad City and the whole TDE, you know, backing and everything like that, it's a very good album. It's just as good as Habits and Contradictions.
Funny you say, I think that Good Kid, Mad City still plays a factor. I wanted to get you guys' take on it. Like, I feel like I like Drake's album a lot. I like YG's albums a lot. And I feel like you can't say any album's a classic since Kendrick. And I feel like every rap album right now that ever comes out, whether it's anybody from Jay-Z to whoever, it's like it's judged by Good Kid, Mad City as like the standard. And it still holds to be that standard. Do you guys agree with me on that? And like, do you think that these other albums aren't getting their due because people are still, you know, respecting so much the accomplishment of what Kendrick was able to create?
You come through and you set a standard.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. That's the goal, is to set a new standard. And if you set the standard, then other people have to rise to it and reset the standard. And I don't think that, for me personally, I like Nothing Was the Same a lot. I think Oxymoron was cool. I didn't absolutely love it. But, you know, obviously things, and even with YG's album is still not, it's not Good City. It is an excellent album. And it set that standard. So yeah, I think we're going to see that for a while until somebody comes along and resets it. But it's always been that way.
What do you think, Nigel? No, but I think it's different, Jazz, in terms of like hip hop. You know, we were so used to like people being constantly in your face, and then it's like for now Kendrick can sit back and he still kind of holds that standard. You know, like where I feel like because of that, Drake feels like he's got to keep putting stuff out to prove he's the best right now too, in a sense. You know, and battle for that because Kendrick's gonna more traditional like J. Cole. He's away from us. Like, he's not putting music out. He's just cooking up new music. And I think in the hip-hop internet age we're in, we're not used to that, where we're just now still saying this album that came out last fall is like the standard, or 2 falls ago, you know?
Right.
What you say, Nigel? Nigel?
How does he compare YG's album to Kendrick's album? You hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I don't really compare albums, but I don't know if Kendrick set a standard. I don't know if everybody looks at that his last album as a standard to compare all albums to. I think it was a great work, but I mean, you do or you don't?
No, I said don't. I just listened to an album.
Yeah, it's just a great album, but I don't compare all albums to his album now.
No, but you guys are on the internet all day. You're on social media. You hear what people say, right, Kaz? Like
they don't know shit.
On social media,
here's the thing. When it comes to comparing albums, man, like we're so in the here today.
Go ahead, Kaz. Let Kaz speak. Go ahead, Kaz.
We're so in the here today, gone tomorrow era. Like even like a month after Good Kid, Mad City dropped, everybody was talking about the next thing. Like you know what I mean? I feel like, especially on social media, like we never take the time to really sit and enjoy an album, and I kind of guess that is the gift of the curse of the internet right now, where music just comes at you so fast and it's so heavy and there's just so much content that comes at you every day. You hear about what rapper is eating lunch with what rapper like every single day, and it's almost sensory overload. Whereas you forget.
And I tweeted the other day, I feel like also we get caught up in the anticipation of the next thing, and we don't appreciate what we have. Like, you know, everybody's so keen on what's about to happen. They sometimes don't appreciate what they got or what they did enjoy.
Yeah, and that's the internet's fault. That's the internet's fault, man. Because every time you log on,
so it's your fault.
It's our fault.
So it's your fault.
Yes, it's my fault. It's my fault. It's your fault, Elliott, Karen, Nigel.
Okay, let's talk about we did albums for a while. Let's talk about singles, man. Like what songs are really impacting 2014? My thing is looking at the landscape. You know, to me, a lot of like if you look even at the hip hop scene. To me, like two of the biggest records are, you know, more R&B records, like dominated this shit. Drunken Love. And,
Elliott. When a rich nigga wants you.
Yeah. Ty Dolla $ign, the genius of Ty Dolla $ign.
No. Yeah, I'm about to say there's no.
Ty Dolla $ign made Paranoid, and then now he made the rich nigga lose to the broke nigga. Like, what's going on in your personal life, my brother? Like, what's going on with you? Like that. That's why I wanted to interview him. Nah,
these hoes ain't loyal from the good doctor.
Is R&B kicking our ass? Like, are we slipping? You know, OG Bobby Johnsons and the Danny Glovers, they kind of came and went, but I feel like Drunken Love, Loyal, they're like their own movement. So, like, are R&B artists kicking our ass when it comes to the big records, the singles? Karen, what you think? You in the clubs, Karen? You see what's out here?
Yeah, it's something about when that Chris Brown Loyal comes on, even from that female perspective. You know, you're singing it from the top of your lungs. You know, just out here right now, what's dominating is Main Chick, which is a mustard beat, and then Loyal. Those are just the two songs you want to hear as soon as you walk in the club and before you leave. It's not anything there's other, records that are impacting, but it's just these two that are just at the moment this is what's killing it.
And do you think those songs still have even more of a shelf life and they could be summer anthems and going to keep going, or do you think that there's going to be a new artist that's going to come with something to kind of really take over the summer?
Oh, Loyal's already.
The Loyal
the summer of Loyal.
It's going to be in the summer, and then when people start to break up towards like winter time or like right before they go back to school, they're going to be saying this. There was the video yesterday of the pastor in church talking about these hoes ain't loyal. So this is just something. This is an epidemic.
Chris Brown has permeated culture. He's touched on something that will always be true. Hoes will never be loyal. Like that's
sooner or later
going to always be true. So the song will always be.
These hoes ain't loyal, and we're having no other way.
Wait,
I mean, seriously, do you think I know Chris Brown's had
now
his
he's out, but the thing is now he's out, and now he's going to be able to perform this song.
He got that Loyal pardon.
Yeah, that magnitude of just what this record is going to do now when he performs it. All I know is BET Awards, he better touch the stage with that.
Okay, I'll give you that that record's big, and he's going to have his moments now that he's free. He's going to get a haircut. He's going to shower up. He's going to buy some gear. He's going to look fly and cute again. He's going to hit that stage. He's going to dance his ass off. He's going to have the moment that he deserves.
You just call Chris Brown cute?
Huh?
Just call Chris Brown
cute. For the ladies. I'm talking to the ladies. I'm into that. No, but we've seen people have big records. Like, is that really going to help Chris Brown have a successful album? Like, really bring him back to prominence the way he was before the Rihanna situation? Like, do you really feel like Loyal can, like, take away those barriers and get him back to that position, or is it?
The funny thing is that despite all his issues, Breezy is still winning musically. He's been winning musically. I think if anything, it's just, is he gonna act right?
Yeah. I think the only thing is him just pretty much staying out of trouble, because before that, you got to remember, he dropped Fine China. He dropped like a couple of solid records before it got pushed back, you know what I mean? And
music's never been his issue.
yeah, and if you watch Summer Jam this past week, like, he had 4 or 5 records on there that he could have performed. So it's like, music ain't the problem.
And his records were still performed. He wasn't there, but Loyal was still performed twice.
That was some Tupac shit, yo.
Right.
So you guys saying it's all about Loyal right now, and I guess
No, it's not. Wait.
The Your Style remix.
All about Loyal.
Oh yeah. What about this remix? So, Vade, you gonna save rap with this Your Style remix, man? With new rappers, old rappers, classic rappers, the young sensation Troy Ave. Talk about this remix. You keep hyping up, man. When are you gonna put this out, man?
In about a week's time, it's gonna be a impactful record.
This is like Flavor in Your Ear remix. This is like that
no.
level.
It's not that many people. It's 2 to 3 guest features, but they're very it's a very good remix. Just
I just said my verse in, alright?
Yo,
Don't
don't
sleep my verse.
As far as summer records go as well, don't sleep on 0 to 100, man. I can hear that tearing up clubs.
Wait, which one?
Yeah.
Say it again?
I said, don't sleep on 0 to 100 by Drake. I'm telling you, that
yeah.
song is gonna rip clubs apart. Like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, I must hear this in the party right this second. You know what I'm saying?
Why do you think Drake is lacing putting out so much music this year? Free music, drawing records out. Like, why is he so active?
He's been working.
His foot firmly on Hove's neck. That's why, yo. He's got his eyes closed.
Say it again on Life and Times.
I'll say it one more time. Drake has his foot firmly on Jay-Z's neck. I said it.
Why does he have his foot on his neck?
Yes, he does.
Look at Elliott. He's like, hold on. Hold on.
True, I'm telling you, everything.
So without an album, he just wants to assert that he's the greatest? Like, it's
Drake is the #1 rapper in the game right now.
Absolutely. Right now, he absolutely the only
Drake
person
is the #1 rapper in the game.
And it's not close.
No, I've always said that, but there's still people that think that we also love Good Kid. People think that Kendrick's still #1. And
No,
then
you gotta call a spade a spade.
What? Say that again, Karen?
You just gotta call a spade a spade. This is Drake's time. It's just what it is. It's just he continuously, when you're not even expecting it, he gives you a record, and he never disappoints.
He hasn't missed. He hasn't missed
Never count out Jay-Z.
Nothing.
Never count Jay-Z out.
What do you think, Nigel? Drizzy Drake? Nigel, what you think of the Drizzy Drake freebies he's throwing out here, man? 0 to 100? You standing on the couch to that? You standing on the couch?
I mean, Drake makes a lot of nice songs, but to say he's the best hands down, I would say that.
He's the best hands down, Nigel. It's his time.
His last album was not a classic.
And it's
not.
not.
His last album was not a classic.
What happened?
His last album.
That's not the standard.
It doesn't have to be a classic.
Right.
The game right now.
No, it's the same.
No, you said it was a classic?
Don't count out. Don't count out.
Right now.
Hovain, I heard you guys Troy recently met Drake and chopped it up, man. What's
Yeah.
Drake's rise right now?
No, Drake is dope. He gets busy. I wouldn't say he's the #1 rapper right now. Jay-Z didn't die. I think Jay-Z can turn it on anytime he wants to.
Do you think that's part of the motivation? Do you agree with Jas? That's part of the motivation of what Drake's doing?
Of course. He want to go for it, just like how he's supposed to want to go for it. Let's not get carried away, because
let's get carried away.
Don't be a prisoner.
Don't get carried away, please.
Get carried away. Who is seeing Drake?
Don't be a prisoner of the moment.
I'm not being a prisoner of the moment. He's been doing
to go.
He's been building. It's not Drake didn't just jump out of nowhere yesterday.
Hey, Kaz.
No way he could be a prisoner of the moment when he's had every album he's went.
Hey, listen, Jimmy Man almost took Nas out of here. This boy.
I can't hear you. What'd you say, Elliott?
Jas, what's your take on this whole Jay-Z Drake conflict? And do you think it was inevitable? like what's your take on it?
I think that whenever there's a passing of the torch, it happens one of two ways. I think that the king either dies or he has it taken from him.
Who says torches are being passed though?
It's Drake season.
Man,
I think that Jay is never going to not be Jay-Z, but I think who Jay-Z is changing. We musically, I think he's not. How do I say this on Life and Times?
I'll say it for you. I'm gonna say it for you, Jas. Hov does not have the pulse of
Yes!
youth culture like Drake does right now.
Jay-Z is the cool uncle right now.
Cool old guy in the room.
He's the cool uncle. He is the uncle that you're like, yo, one day I want to be like you, but I'm not there yet. And Drake is the dude.
Is it a LeBron trying to be a Jordan, and no matter what he does, he may not ever be measured as it? Like
Drake is never going to be Jay-Z. Drake is never going to be Jay-Z. He wouldn't make it as Jay-Z. They're two philosophy, just too different. But Drake will also be, if he continues as he's going, he'll get to be his own thing. He'll get to be his own version of Jay-Z.
Let's talk about the female side of it too, like Nicki Minaj, right? Obviously, she went through a thing, because I want to segue kind of the most anticipated, and I think that obviously a lot of folks that were like critical of Nicki are back on supporting her again, and feel like she's back, balancing the street edge more with her content and making kind of all the right moves. The Chirac record, all these things. Like, what's your guys' take on Nicki Minaj's resurgence, and what do you think her role is in the game in terms of this landscape?
I love that Nicki implied the keep it simple, stupid method. You know what I'm saying? Like, once she got rid of the crazy hair, once she got rid of the crazy makeup, once she started actually rapping, we fucked with her again. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the other clown stuff that she was doing, I mean, it was alright for, the pop audience, but once she was done doing American Idol and selling Moscato or all the other BS she was doing, once she got back to the basics, we're not that hard to please. We like our rappers to rap. We like our pretty girl to look pretty. Not that hard to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, with that.
You got the dog. You got the dog.
Mine, that's Charlie Murphy. He's chiming in.
Charlie Murphy agrees with me, man.
Aaron, what's your take on Nicki's resurgence? And actually, the public's reignited love affair with Nicki Minaj.
I'm not gonna lie. My love for her died a little bit a while ago, but then just her coming back, just the remixes she's been doing, just how she went back to just looking, like her natural self. It's just I appreciate it more than anything. She's being herself, and she's coming back the way she came in, is which we appreciate more than anything. And hopefully she keeps this up, and we get a quality album from her. And I just like it. I just like when she's rapping. She's not, I don't look at her like when I listen to the Chirac record, it's not like, oh, this dope female spitting. This is just a dope rapper spitting. And I like that about her. That's what she's giving me, that she's just a rapper.
It got to the point where you personally felt like she went too far and it disappointed you, right?
Yeah, it's just, it's just like it just wasn't relatable anymore, just where it was going. It was more of like a pop, going into that Gaga feel of just the costumes, the theatrics. I know she went to school for that, so it's just like it was her career was going somewhere else, which wasn't for me as a fan. But now that she's back and she's given us, the music that's a little bit more relatable, giving you that street edge, working with new youth and not just bigger names. That's just, it feels like she's back in touch with the streets. She knows what's happening. She knows who her core fan base is. She's trying to touch them again and give us something.
Nigel, what do you think of the Nicki Minaj's move she's making here in 2014?
I think she's being real smart about how she operates. She's pleasing everybody. She has like Chirac for the hip hop fans, and then her singles pretty much pop. So you can expect the album to be more pop, but she's releasing free music for all the hip hop fans to shut up and be happy, pretty much. So everybody's happy right now.
Isn't Pills and Potion poppy the way Starships was?
Yeah, but that's what I expected, though. I expected the album single.
Why do you think that that's not being dealt with critically the way Starships was at the time?
I think Starships was a little bit way further left. It was further left.
You weren't meant to fly, Nigel. That's why.
I don't got wings. Kaz got wings. I don't got wings.
Kaz, you rocking to that Pills and Potions?
It's alright. I mean, I know it's one of those songs that I know I'm gonna hear a million times between now and the end of the summer. But I've personally been digging. It kind of sounds funny, but I like that "Yes, bitch, yes" more than.
Whoa. Don't say that anymore, okay? Please. Violation.
There was no masculine way for me to say this, man. Give me a break.
Snap your fingers, Kaz. Snap your fingers.
That's a guilty pleasure in the club, Kaz.
That's my joint, son. I don't care, I was like, yes, bitch, yes.
Whoa.
I'm trying to say like some bass level. It's to sound a little better, but
I'm glad Jas stepped away before that part happened. Hovain, Wayne. Nicki's from New York, man. Where does she fit in the whole game, man? She's
Nah,
from Queens.
she dope as shit. I fuck with her. I fuck with her music. She's not just a female rapper. She's just a dope rapper. You heard what she did on Monster with Kanye, Ross, and Jay. So you know what I mean, she
So
dope.
now we're talking about this Jay Drake rivalry of sorts. Like, where does Nicki fit in that? Like, can she break out of this female box and just be viewed as like the best? Like,
I think if anybody could, if anybody could, she has as good a shot as any female rapper in recent history.
What do you think, Karen? Like, what is it going to take for Nicki to, like, not just be... Because obviously it seems like in the females, you know, Iggy Azalea has a big record, and, like, obviously some female artists are doing well, but it's very clear that Nicki's at a certain level of stardom is way above her competition on the female side. What do you think it's going to take for her to really, like, take that on of, like, being in that same conversation with Jay-Z and Drake in that debate?
I think she just got to continue putting out the, you know, the records she has, and she just continue to put out, you know, good music. That's really what it starts from. And then hopefully on our side, you know, things like the BET Awards and stuff like that, taking out, removing these, you know, best female hip hop awards, because at this point it should just be best hip hop award. Like, you know, she shouldn't even be having it at this, that's like her own category. So, you know, removing those and just her continuing to just put out good music that puts her in those categories with a Jay-Z or Drake or Wayne, that's really what matters.
Cool. Speaking of Wayne, you know, obviously, again, an artist that people felt like they didn't like some of the moves he was making career-wise, and then now it seems like people are back. They like Believe Me. You know, they like some of the music. Like, what's your guys' take on the renewed interest in Lil Wayne and anticipation of Carter 5?
He back rapping the way niggas want him to rap. That's it. I mean,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's fucking nice. And before, it seemed like he got a little bit away from that, but now he's back being nice. That's it. It ain't nothing complicated.
I don't know if it's so much about people having a renewed interest in him, but I think it's, you know, he's always omnipresent. Like, he never went anywhere, you know what I'm saying? But I just think it's album time. So now, you know, it's almost like where you got to put your game face on and be like, okay, let me give these people what they want from me and stuff like that. So, you know, it's not a rebirth. It's not a I'm Not a Human Being. It's a Carter album. So just like Carter 4 with 6 Foot, 7 Foot came out, and what was the other joint? The Fire Flame remix and the Hustle Hard remix. He always gets back into that mode when it's album time. When he gets into that,
I need that dedication too. No ceilings, Wayne.
Oh, exactly. Like those,
we fuck with.
Like those type of records. Like
no, but post jail there was a lot of criticism of his lyrical content, that he just started just rhyming words, you know, just for the sake of like riddling and like the enunciation. It wasn't, his bars weren't as sharp as they were before going through the Rikers situation. There was a lot of.
Oh no, I don't agree with that. I think when he got out of jail initially, like his first couple of joints was Flames. Like the Fire Flame remix was the first thing that came out. And then he got on the Hustle Hard remix and destroyed that. And then he came out with 6 Foot, 7 Foot and destroyed that. And I think it was just the album content itself where it was like, all right, we were expecting this. And then we got like, you know, John and, you know, How to Love. And, you know, he's singing on acoustic guitar.
How to Love is crazy.
I like How to Love.
Let's
you like, yes, bitch.
Wait. Let's rewind a little bit. Kaz, don't do that. Don't do that, Kaz. Kaz, don't make me put you on that Life and Time screen. Because before the world heard that song.
Between me and you, man.
No, listen.
All right, Karen.
You were in my house and you heard that song, and you thought it was Flames. So don't do that right now.
I'm not saying
You only had 30
recording.
Can I speak?
Yes.
I'm not saying it wasn't Flames. I'm not saying it wasn't Flames. All I'm saying was we were seeing rap Wayne for a long time, and then from left field to John Mayer Wayne, and we were like, "What the fuck is this?" I'm not saying it was a bad song. It was just different. So
I think
when sorry, go ahead.
I think I don't know, and I lost my connection when Karen was talking about Nicki, but I feel like the exact same situation with Nicki is the same thing with Wayne. When you go too far away from your base, you can lose them. And I think that with Wayne, he tried a bunch of different things, and he seemed to really just want to explore, and now he's sort of back to basics, and I think the base is picking up on it. And I think the same thing with Nicki. Nicki went really experimental and really left. And as an artist, I get it, but I think her base just never followed her there. They were just like, we're not sure what's happening, and so now they're back.
Karen, yeah, Lil Wayne was Karen. Lil Wayne is somebody you also work with a lot.
Yeah.
What is your take on him? Sort of like the idea that he's recapturing his base, and what do you think of the moves he's making right now in 2014?
Just to backtrack a bit. So when he came out of jail, people got to understand. He was only there for a few months, but he was a different person. So when you come home, here's this multimillionaire. You're away from your family. Certain things are different. So of course he's experimenting. He's doing new things. Taking up the skateboarding. He's involved in a whole new culture and lifestyle. So that lifestyle he wanted to bring into his music. Unfortunately, that didn't necessarily fit his regular core base, but people still bought the records. We didn't buy them, but that fan base did it for him. And now he's been working heavy with Drake. Drake told me they've done like 6 or 7 songs, and it's just he's going back to what people originally know. He doesn't want people to count him out. Yeah. And you really can't. He's putting in some work.
So Young Money's running this rap-ish, running it. They're running it right now. Young Money, Drake. If Drake's the top guy, we got Wayne with his mind right. We got Nicki with his mind right. Huh?
He's the top guy. He's the top guy, and it's not close. It's not close. We could argue with this until we're blue in the face, but Drake is the top guy in the game, and it's not close.
He is, and he's a guy that people don't want to say that it's his, but then they reference all of his songs, and he permeates that culture.
Does that also make Young Money the top click, undisputed? They're winning right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, but the thing is, it's so many. It's not really just one click anymore. Yeah. Like usually it's just one at a time. But now you have so many options, and I love that. Now you got Dipset is back. You got G Unit. You got MMG. You got Young Money. So it's just you got BSB. So you have all these choices. So to me, it's not just TDE. There's not just one click. It's a click for everybody.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like one of the things, like what do you think? Like, I'll go to each of you. Like I want to hear, like what are some things that you think people are like sleeping on, or it's a little underrated. Nigel, I know you mentioned Hit Boy's project. Like talk a little bit about projects or things that you're observing that you like that maybe isn't as big as you think it should be right now.
I bought the album. I thought it was a solid release, and a lot of people are hearing the remix that G-Unit did to Grinding My Whole Life, but I've been tweeting about Grinding My Whole Life for like weeks.
Yeah, I've
been had 200 texts, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about?
That's Hovain's life, baby. That's Hovain's life. 200 texts every day.
There's a lot of artists that they get a lot of play in the club, like K-Camp. His songs pretty much run the
cut off.
Club, cut money, baby. Now, you can't go to a club without hearing their songs, but he doesn't really get recognition right now. But there's a lot of artists out there that are really running the club scene.
Wait, Nigel, who'd you say after K-Camp? Who'd you say after K-Camp?
Nah, I didn't say anybody after K-Camp. But I do have a mixtape coming out, so everybody look out for that.
It's called Girl, I Want to Fly You Out, Volume 1.
Oh, man, you're fired, all right? You're fired.
It's spoken word, man. It's spoken word.
But I'm excited to hear the new Meek Mill album, though. Because I think his first album was a disappointment, so I'm hoping the sophomore album is solid. Yeah, it sounded good so far, so I hope it's a solid album. The intro's still banging, though.
The intro's a classic. It's
the intro is the album. Yeah. The intro is the album.
That's our generation's public service announcement.
Yeah, you said that. Ernest said that, right? Ernest.
Yeah. I told him that. I told him that.
Did you come for your publishing? Wow.
That's how it works.
Publishing for thoughts, I'd do it.
So, Kaz, we got about 10 minutes left. So, your take, who are we sleeping on right now?
Man, there's two projects I've really been fucking with that we're definitely sleeping on. One of them is Bass's Last Winter project.
Yeah, my nigga Just Made Bail. That's my joint.
Just Made Bail, exactly. It's lit. I don't know how It's Lit hasn't blown up yet because that's one of my favorite songs out, and it has been for a while. Hit Boy's We The Plug project. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the most cohesive sounding projects. And not only that, the project before that, with Audio Push and Come As You Are, like, they've been putting out a lot of consistently great sounding music, and I don't think they're getting the credit that they deserve.
Why do you think Hit hasn't breaking through yet with his movement to that level? And do you think the G-Unit remix is going to hurt more than help?
I think it's going to help. I think it's going to help because I think so many people are just giving Hit Boy, well, you know, he's this great producer or whatever, and we don't really fuck with his raps yet because A, B, C, and D, or whatever reason it is. But, you know, I heard somebody tweet like, yo, that's not a Hit Boy song anymore. That's a G-Unit song. And it's like, the whole G-Unit.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree
That's what I'm saying. Like, all of G-Unit are biting Hit Boy's flow off the original song. So to say that Hit Boy's whack or, you know, he can't craft a catchy tune, but we're all fucking with this G-Unit record that is all biting off of Hit Boy's flow, I don't know what to tell you, you know what I'm saying? Maybe there's just some preconceived notion about Hit making rapping now that people just kind of don't want to accept, and I think they should give it another shot.
So the movement, the Dreamville movement, the HS87 movement, still being a little slept on. KC, who do you think's being slept on? You're with a lot of heavyweights to the Impact, and who do you feel like still deserves more credit that isn't getting enough of their due?
I think.
Hovain cough.
Yes. Hovain cough. You know, I'm gonna really go with two. I kind of wish. I think, you know, YG is getting the attention and notoriety, but I kind of wish more people would understand that album and just pick it up. That's one, and then of course, like Hit Boy myself, you know, like I'm familiar with his work, and the Jay-Z interview didn't do it for me, but this project, you know, if people are judging it off that one song and not understanding this project, like his project is really, really good. Understanding the story of
the current project, We the Plug?
Yeah, his current project, We the Plug, like understanding how his dad came home, you know, his dad rapping on the records, like just
Big Hit got the verse of the year, by the way.
Who does the Pops?
Big Hit got the verse of the year. The radiator cool you off, nigga. Now I'm talking about.
It's just, it's like people necessarily don't want to, because he's a producer, and most people want to have put him in that box as a producer. You don't want to see him as a rapper. So it's just like people going, oh, okay, it's cool, but they don't want to give it that proper notoriety it deserves.
I got that new Truth with him coming up. I'm glad I made the right move in that.
You made the right decision.
Jazz, who we sleeping on? 2014. Who deserves more recognition?
I would say Hit Boy, but also specifically Audio Push. I like them a lot. And I think that they are
a rap duo. We don't have those anymore. Rap duo.
Right, and I think the issue, you know, music is one thing. It's 2014. Music is one thing. Conversation is another. And I think that, you know, you can, and I think this is also part of the problem with YG. You can put out great music, but if you haven't broken into certain conversations, people think you aren't putting out good product. And I think that, you know, just hoping that they find their way into more conversations to trail you back to the music.
You like their Come As You Are? Did you like their tape?
I do.
Yeah.
You know what? I came in at Come As You Are, and it led me on. It led me back. But yeah, I like them. I think they're interesting. And I think like that's the other thing. Like a lot of people are coming out and they're just boring, or they just seem like reboots of something else. And it's like they're actually interesting.
Speaking of interesting, those guys from Brooklyn, man, BSB Records, man, what's going on with you guys, man?
It's working.
Hovain. Besides, it's dark again, Hovain. You got ESPN in the back. I like it, man. It's dark.
It's dark and hell is hot.
I know you feel you're a little slept on still, Hovain. Besides BSB, I mean, talk a little about your plans for BSB. I guess maybe some of the artists affiliated with Troy, man, they're not necessarily getting their full due, right? Who else are the other artists besides Troy Ave that people that may not know from BSB Records?
Avon Bloxdale, Young Leader.
Nigel D.
King 7 and Young Fly them out, Nigel D.
Yes, me. What's up?
No, we just put out Volume 4. We currently working on Volume 5, and Troy is picking a label that he feels is suitable for him, and we just gonna keep pushing. More visuals, more shows, more endorsement deals, just, you know, more content.
You're picking a label, huh? Soon, man.
Pretty soon.
All right.
You guys not hanging in Miami for no reason. Oh, I'm watching those Instagrams. I'm watching them.
Yeah.
I'm working. I'm chilling with Bumby over here. We were talking about hip hop, you know.
I wasn't talking about you, Nigel. I was talking about he knows I'm watching them Instagrams. Hopefully we'll be toasting with Bel Air soon, maybe.
We doing it?
But real shit,
it's dark again.
But real shit, I have a relationship with everybody on this panel, and I respect everybody on here, and I'm honored to be amongst my peers.
That's why you're in darkness, brother? That's why we can't see your face?
Witness protection. Yo, Hovain, I'm sitting in Versus tonight, alright?
All right, man. Hovain,
Hovain,
anybody else besides BSB you listen to that's kind of being slept on that you think deserves some recognition?
Not really. I
And again, who didn't see that?
You're not gonna find a nice rapper in New York to get down with a new rapper.
I feel like everybody's getting their just due. Like, you know, I fuck with YG. Everybody Sycamore affiliated with. I fuck with Nip. Like, I think everybody's getting their just due. Everybody's out here working. I don't think there's too many people that's really truly underrated or not getting their just due. I feel like some people. I don't think Drake gets his just due all the time because he is truly like nice. He can sing and rap. But everybody's getting the credit they deserve, except for us.
All right, man. Well, I didn't deserve to have such a wonderful afternoon kicking it with my peers, man. I want to thank all you guys taking the time to be out here, man. You wrapping me up, man? We did an hour. We had fun, man. This was great, man. Hopefully we got everything out, chopped it up about the state of the game. I want to thank Hovain for taking the time. I want to thank Jas Fly. I want to thank Karen Civil. I want to thank Kazeem with his late ass. I want to thank Nigel D, pause, and Nigel D in the motherfucker. And thank all you guys for reaching out. Everybody that watched, I appreciate it. We're going to put the link out. I need you guys to, push that thing out. You know how I do it on the internet, on the Instagram and the Twitter.
Yes, of course.
All right? So thank you guys again. The Truth Live, man. We're back, man. Like times it's digital.
BSB forever.
Every is the way they do their business.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, 50's an independent artist, Jay's an independent artist, Ray's an independent artist, Beyonce's about to be independent. So there's a huge push where huge artists are now going back to indie, and they're going to change the game. And I think that's a huge thing that we need to talk about.
Okay. Speaking of independent forces, they already mentioned her, Karen Civil. Thank you for joining us, KC. Tell the people that don't know about your 27 jobs, what you do for a living.
Oh man, I call myself the entertainment blossom because I wear so many different hats. I actually found a title for it. I call it, cultural artisan. Part of the management team for Nipsey Hussle. Doing the entertainment marketing over at Beats by Dre. For my website, just the different things. I'm just out here. Just out here in a very humble way.
You're out here and you're always on the scene. So what are your thoughts, besides the things, I guess the things that you're involved in that are impacting culture? Like, what is your take on those things and how they're moving, and also the things that aren't in your control that you're just seeing and observing?
Honestly, to touch on what Jas said, it's just, artists and bigger business. It's just something that's remarkable now, seeing how artists are taking back the control of their marketing, just how things are handled for them, especially with the rollout of their projects in their career. That's something that I just find so interesting. Someone like, she did mention Beyonce. Someone like a Beyonce, she has a million people who could handle things for her. But she took back the control. She did the rollout of the video. She let you know when the album was coming. So just that, and
She's on Instagram now?
Yes, because they got relationships and all that. I just keep it real. I think there's a lot of excitement in New York right now. They got Troy, we got G when they come back together. We got Fab with the Cup of Season remix. There's a lot going on. So I think New York is really excited, and we just waiting for some solid albums to come out.
So the New York thing is the one that's the New York kind of resurgence going on right now is the thing that kind of most.
We got New York. We got Young Money, Nicki dropping an album, Lil Wayne dropping an album, and Drake dropping an album probably soon. And then we got Meek Mill coming back, and we got Diddy coming back too. So there's a lot going on.
The big homie.
I might even drop a mixtape. I don't know. I might drop a mixtape. Hovain, give me a verse.
The Flyout Volume 1.
The Flyout. That's the name of it. Karen Civil, my A&R. What's up?
Nigel, what do you personally yourself, Nigel? What is the thing that you most connect to? Like, what is Nigel listening to? Do people want to know?
I'm listening to HS87, We The Plug. I'm listening to YG new album. Listening to Troy Ave. Listening to the G the remixes. I mean, I try to listen to everybody.
Okay, all right. So it's not just an East Coast thing.
Nah, I appreciate everybody.
So first thing I want to talk about is kind of the albums that came out this year. Obviously, it's a lot of mixtapes come out. A lot of times there's so much free music. It's kind of rare now that you actually get an album that comes out, that really impacts culture. And I think probably some of the biggest names this year so far have come out is YG, Ross, Schoolboy Q, Freddie Gibbs, Pharrell. I think Kid Cudi had an album. I want to kind of go through everybody and get to them. Which album do you think has kind of stood up and seems like, as of right now, if the year ended right now, who had the best album?
Oh, we lost Elliott.
Yeah, Yeah, it's Elliott Wilson from Rap Radar. This is the Truth Live, man. We ain't did this in a long time. I think since like late last year. The Truth Live is when I get out the field, I go back to the headquarters, we charge up the computers, we get a Google Hangout going, we get some hot topics to discuss, and then more importantly, the most important thing is we put together an esteemed panel of colleagues and people I could talk to and chop it up with. And you know, usually those panels are cool, but you have a couple of people are cool, and then got some lightweights and stuff. But this panel right here, though, it's kind of special, man. This guy Taylor behind the scenes is on his job, man. He got some heavyweights, man. There's no weak link in this panel and this group of people. I want to discuss the state of hip-hop in 2014. We're at that midway point, June. Summertime about to kick in. Want to kind of get everybody's take on where hip-hop's at right now, the good and the negative, the positive and the bad, the albums, the singles that are really impacting, the things we're anticipating, who's going to run the summer. You know, all those good things we talk about as hip-hop heads for years and years and years and have those debates, and a lot of times it plays out on social media. So I want to play it out here today. So let me introduce everybody. Let's start down the line. I think I got my man Hovain from BSB Records. Hovain, what up, baby?
What up, BSBE?
Tell the people out there who don't know who Hovain is, who he is. Introduce yourself, my brother.
Manager of Troy Ave, co-president of BSB Records. It's all-around good guy.
Okay, that's good. Hovain, besides the movement that you got going on in 2014, I mean, you're having a nice little year so far, making moves and making impact. What are your initial thoughts when people say to you, Hovain, what's going on in hip-hop in 2014? Like, what's the things that really stick out to you?
I think it was a strong reemergence of the West Coast sound. And now, as of late, like within the last month or two, it's been a reemergence from the East Coast sound. Like, you know, artists like Troy, 50, and Dipset coming about. I think, you know, there's a lot of hometown pride in hip-hop right now.
Okay, you feel like you're at the forefront of that, right?
I mean, you know, I'm trying to be humble.
Why do you think the West has been able to have such a good, strong run?
Good music.
Get back on the feet in terms of the national landscape.
Good music, good feel-good vibe, and it's some type of synergy. Like, you know, everybody's out there is not best friends, but, you know, they do songs together, they come to each other's shows, they support, you know. And also, a lot of them are winning because they're affiliated with Karen Civil.
Oh, the plug.
Karen here, but first I want to introduce Jas Fly. Jas, tell the people who you are if they don't know.
I am a writer and a multimedia personality.
Cool, and you're also heavy in that social media, you know, social media streets, tweets,
Yes.
impacting the conversation.
Yep. Yes,
yes. What are your initial thoughts when people say to you, Jas, what's going on in hip-hop in 2014?
To me, the most interesting part is that artists are actually taking back their business. And I think that's something that was missing. You saw in the 90s, everybody was really heavy into our crew and our label and our thing, and then it switched over and the labels were running everything. And I think we're seeing this trend where they're really taking back ownership in their business. I think that's huge.
In terms of just the artists going toward like 50 going to be an independent, or just even people on Maino?
Yeah.
She got that Tumblr moving. The Tumblr moving out here.
He's dictating. As soon as she gets off, she's meticulously putting everything together. As soon as she get off stage, the images go to Tumblr. If you want to comment from her, you no longer have to go to a PR person. You go to her Tumblr. She give you an answer through a photo. So I just like the way artists are now handling their business more than anything. And then to touch on what Hov said, that West Side connection is mean because of Mustard. It's mean.
Is that because you moved out there, Karen? That's because you lived out West?
Hey, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I mean, like that Mustard situation, closing out Summer Jam, West Coast close out Summer Jam. That, to me, that in itself was big. And that spoke a lot to where the culture is going and just what's happening right now.
Okay, it might be getting a little too positive, so I gotta bring my man Nigel D here, baby. Nigel D from Real Talk. Nigel, talk. You don't show your face off, man. Talk to the people, man. Tell them who you are and everything you got going on.
The flyer.
What?
So the flyer
Don't
chick
pay no
out
attention to him.
Nigel, international.
He threw out two girls in the middle of everybody's speech.
Hates women.
Listen,
Hates women.
I'm in Miami right now. Took some time out.
Talking to Instagram honeys. Talk to everybody about your skills and what you got going on, Nigel.
I mean, I'm a photographer. I mean, video producer, blogger, world traveler. I'm just a Renaissance man, you know? I'm just out here being humble, all right? Like Karen. I want to be like Karen when I grow up.
So Nigel, what do you think of the game right now? I know sometimes you're not as positive as everybody out here. How do you feel about
I just keep it real. Like, some people want to be